orientation for the newly confirmed MMDCs. Speaking now is the local government minister, Dan Boche.
Leadership and team building, managing MMDC stakeholder relationships with MPs, traditional authorities, and I'm very happy that a very powerful traditional chief in the person of the Omahine and chairman of the Council of State has irritated this point. MMDCs will take into the Public Finance Management Act, Expenditure Controls and Management System, the GIFMIS, property addressing in MMDCs for accelerated revenue. Nana Chairman, His Excellency the President, the MMDCs will also receive policy direction and guidance from ministers of state on various government flagship programs and projects, including free SHS, 1D, 1F, One Village, One Dam, planting for foods and jobs, and sanitation and other such policies. On our part, Mr. President, the Minister of Local Government, Decentralization and Rural Development will continue to champion the cause of decentralized local governance in the country. The Ministry will continue to support with policy guidance, manuals, logistics to enable our MMDCs to function better. And indeed, in September this year, the Ministry issued a new fee-fixing guidelines for MMDAs to aid them in the revenue mobilization. Mr. President, the Ministry, in collaboration with Institute of Local Government Studies, and the head of Local Government Service, will monitor and evaluate and ensure regular reporting in the performance of MMDCs. The Ministry will seek new engagements with other ministries, our development partners, and the private sector to enhance resource mobilization and transfer to the MMDAs. I wish to challenge all MMDCs to ensure that your new role triggers a better impact in the lives of our people. And this you can achieve by cooperating with all stakeholders in the discharge of the mandate of your office. I also wish to call on all stakeholders to provide our MMDCs the requisite support as they commence their service to the nation. Nana Chairman, His Excellency the President, the training program is in 2 phases. We have it today and tomorrow for all the 250 confirmed MMDCs. And on Thursday and Friday, the newly appointed MMDCs, those who are occupying this position for the first time, will have some orientation again on Thursday and Friday. You also see the President, the Ministry has divided the country into 4 zones. And in the next 1 month, we'll go into the zones and have more training, capacity building in the zones with the various MMDAs championed by the regional ministers in these zones. Today, I will add my voice to the thanks, even though there's a vote of thanks on the program for Nana Chairman and also Your Excellency the President for gracing the occasion. And more so, we are promised to be with us in the special session later tomorrow. I thank you very much.
Right, so we're turning to the Accra International Conference Center where the President is about to address the MMDC's training. So we're going over in a bit. That's a live shot of the orientation of the Accra International Conference Center, the main hall, the auditorium, where we're expecting the President will speak in a bit. We're having the MMDCs who have been confirmed so far undergo orientation, which is what we have. We will take a break and return immediately. The President is about to speak, so we can get him live. All right, so we're returning to the Accra International Conference Center where the President is about to address the MMDC's orientation, which is currently taking place. Let's go over now.
Nana Utusribo II, Greater Accra Regional Minister, members of the Council of State, Minister for Local Government, Decentralization and Rural Development, and Member of Parliament for Okre. ministers, regional ministers and deputy ministers of state, members of parliament, chief directors, head of the local government service, metropolitan, municipal and district chief executives, fellow Ghanaians, ladies and gentlemen, I'm happy to see the metropolitan, municipal and district chief executives from all parts of the country gathered here this morning, even though not exactly a full house. Indeed, out of the total of 261 nominees, 250 of you have so far been approved by your respective assemblies. I'm hopeful that the remaining 11 will join you very soon. To you gathered here who have made it, I say a big ayiko on your nomination and subsequent approval. I wish you the best of luck and God's blessings in the discharge of your important duties, and hope that you justify the confidence that your assemblies and I have reposed in you. Ladies and gentlemen, this position, metropolitan, municipal, or district chief executive for short, in the administrative structure of the nation, has attracted considerable attention and scrutiny. This is for good reason. You are the very pillar of local government in our country. The chief executive is the government official who has the most regular and direct interaction with the people. You set the tone for the administration in your areas. That is why the Constitution in Article 243 provides that you preside over meetings of the Executive Committee of the Assembly. Further, you're in charge of the day-to-day performance of the executive and administrative functions of the Assembly, and you are the chief representative of the President in the locality. The people of Ghana spoke loudly and clearly on 7th December 2020. They gave me 4 more years to do more for them. Whether this will be truly reflected in the lives of the people will depend to a large extent on the type of chief executive they get. The best efforts of the President of the Republic and the ministers of state will be considerably undermined if you, in this room, responsible for local government, do not perform creditably. The people of Ghana will see and feel and know that what they voted for has truly arrived if and when their chief executive manages to deliver on the promises of government. And that is why the theme for this orientation program, effective leadership for local economic transformation and improved service delivery in Ghana, the role of MMDCs, is so appropriate and ties in perfectly with the vision to deepen local governance and decentralization. The Constitution spells out clearly the process through which we should decentralize governance to the local level. Almost 29 years later, this remains very much a work in progress. The instinct of the average citizen is still to look toward Accra for things that fall within the remit of the local authority. I'm expecting that you will be part of the team that finally brings decentralization to fruition. This should mean that the district assemblies build their capacities and are able to handle the responsibilities that have been devolved on them by law. Chief executives, it continues to be a good time to be in charge of districts, municipal, and metropolitan areas. You have the opportunity to transform the local economy and preside over the creation of jobs for our people. The local area is the target for all the programs we set forth in 2017, programs we continue to implement for the growth and transformation of the Ghanaian economy. Planting for food and jobs, $1 million, one constituency, one district, one factory, one village, one dam, and Agenda 111. Policy initiatives, like all the other innovative introductions to the economy, are all very much local initiatives. I would sound a note of caution here. All government initiatives at the local level come within your purview, whether you initiated them or not. The argument that you are not aware of or are not responsible for government initiatives in your localities will not wash with me. You have to familiarize yourselves with everything, whether of your making or not. A chief executive who's indifferent or unaware of government activities in his or her area is not a suitable chief executive. The challenge is thus for all areas to take advantage of these programs to develop your localities. Whilst a lot of funds continue to flow into the localities, and every attempt will be made to get the common fund allocations to you regularly and on time, I encourage you to work to increase internally generated funds. You will not make the progress you should if your development programs are solely dependent on the relatively modest sums you get from the common fund allocation. But at the same time, please apply your common fund judiciously towards the execution of planned and approved projects. It is not for recurrent expenditure and should not be used, misused, or abused. It is a good idea quickly to get your assemblies to restructure your financial operational system and targets to take advantage of the new initiatives introduced by government to promote accelerated economic growth. There is a lot of work to be done to make our assemblies work as they are expected to do. You should start by making sure you acquaint yourself with all the relevant laws and work in close collaboration with your assemblies, traditional authorities, opinion leaders, religious leaders, and other key stakeholders in your localities. You must also ensure that the assemblies function effectively and efficiently, especially in the substructures. Avoid getting involved in unnecessary conflicts that rather dent the image of the assembly and, by extension, government. Rather, work with your staff, deepen transparency, and promote popular participation and accountability at the local level. These are the hallmarks for successful leadership and the attainment of results. If you are fruitful in this, then we'll be making good progress towards strengthening the structure of our governance system and bringing democracy and progress to local government. Be reminded, however, that I will not hesitate to disappoint any MMDCE who does not live up to expectations. I must remind you that whereas the Minister for Local Government, Decentralization and Rural Development, in the person of the hard-working and dynamic Honorable Dan Kwaku Butchie, Member of Parliament for Okra, who enjoys my full confidence, has oversight responsibility for decentralization, implementation, and local government. Regional ministers are required to monitor and evaluate the performance of MMDCs in their regions. and support periodic reports to the President about them. I therefore expect you to accord regional ministers all their due respect, as they are the President's representatives in the regions. The other important role you play is that of Chair of the District Security Committee. You do not need me to remind you that your most important function is to ensure peace and law and order in your area. All our plans will only work if there is peace. I advise you to be careful and tactful in managing issues of intelligence and security. I urge you as soon as possible, i.e. within 3 months of assuming office, to declare your assets as demanded by the Public Office Holders Declaration of Assets and Disqualification Act, 1998, Act 550, Schedule 1, Subschedule 5. That exercise will be monitored. It is important that the Ghanaian people understand that for us, public service is exactly that, public service, not personal gain. Before I conclude, there's one matter which I must address. All of you saw at first hand the massive expression of interest by many to become MMDCEs. It was reported in the news that in Garu in the Upper East region, for example, a father, mother, and son all appeared before the Regional Vetting Committee seeking to be the chief executive out of 17 applicants. Indeed, the competition was keen, and we made sure that the process of selecting our MMDCs was thorough, which has enabled the overwhelming majority of you to be confirmed without any controversy. However, as is well known, I belong to the group that has always advocated for the direct popular election of chief executives on a party political basis. I do not believe there's anything to fear in the direct election of chief executives. On the contrary, it should lead to a deepening of our democracy and better accountability. Excuse me. We tried to bring this to fruition during my first term through the repeal of Article 55, Clause 3 of the Constitution. When I believed there was a broad national consensus for this to happen, the main opposition party, the National Democratic Congress, made a U-turn and stated that it was no longer prepared to go along with the national consensus. They indicated further that they would actively campaign for a no vote. I was convinced that it would not serve the public interest to go ahead with the holding of the referendum to repeal Article 55, Clause 3, without a broad national consensus. The repeal of an entrenched provision of the Constitution should not be driven by partisan party considerations. My government and I will continue to work for a broad national consensus on this issue. And should such a consensus be attained for the repeal of Article 55, Clause 3 of the Constitution, and an agreement reached for political parties to participate in and sponsor candidates for election to metropolitan, municipal, and district assemblies, at any point during my tenure of office as President of the Republic, the matter will be brought back again to the front burner of our public discourse for the necessary action. In conclusion, Chief Executives, I want to stress that you have my confidence and trust. The people of Ghana have put their hopes in us. We dare not betray their trust. This is a sacred opportunity Join me to make this nation the happy and prosperous place it should be. I wish you a successful program and traveling mercies back to your localities. May God bless us all in our homeland, Ghana, and make her great and strong. I thank you for your attendance.
So that was President Akufo-Addo addressing the MMDCE orientation taking place at the Accra International Conference Center. Let's go over now. Now, back in the studio, Volta Regional Police Commander, DCOP Edward Udru Kwating is addressing the media on the general security situation in the region and the preparedness of its personnel to deal with it accordingly. We'll be bringing you that after the break. Do stay tuned in.